Hi, it's old Joe, and I approve this message. Now from Times Square, it's That Kevin Show.
Somewhere in the bowels of the city that never sleeps,
Kevin McCullough, radio host with Salem Media,
is a man also not sleeping.
Syndicated radio talk show host Kevin McCullough.
And that guy would like a word with you.
Many of you know him as Nostradamus.
Of course that Kevin show is going to be great. The only thing that could be greater, of course, would be That Donald show. We don't have that, so we have That Kevin show.
Featuring the music of Dick Tunney and the Dream in Color Orchestra. Still to come, sketch comedy along with Assignment Desk Weekend, a Holderness family, and Not a Parrot. Then answering the question, what happens next? It's Max Lucado. And then we salute our veterans with Drew Jacobs and Coffee Anderson in the Spotlight. And now, from Times Square, the man who quietly admits he wants to be the new Kayleigh McEnany. Here's That Kevin!
Dave, I don't get it. I don't understand why you make stuff up like that. I never said I wanted to be Kayleigh McEnany. Although there's nothing wrong with Kayleigh McEnany. She's a perfectly delightful,
She's a wonderful
human being.
Yeah.
Great individual. She's been on my show a lot. I like her a lot. And very, very nice. Harvard law grad.
Yeah.
Kind of killed it in the press secretary position. But if I was going to be a press secretary, who do you think I'd want to be?
Sean Spicer.
No, I want you to take a guess at it.
Sean Spicer.
No, not Sean Spicer. There's nothing wrong with Spicer. I like Spicer. But there was one press secretary in Trump's first administration who was the boss.
It wasn't that girl
and
from Melania's
nobody got
office.
away with anything with it. You're drawing a blank. Seriously?
Yep.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders, man, all the way.
Oh,
That's good.
yeah.
All right, let's get to the news. For Assignment Desk Weekend, I'm Kevin McCullough. The election of Donald Trump as the 47th president has now been cited by medical authorities as dangerous for certain segments of the population, saying in some instances it has induced narcotic dependency.
Be positive, but today I don't feel, yesterday I felt better. Maybe it was the Valium.
Joy Behar, co-host of The Shrews, we mean The View, admitting to her drug problem, all while receiving great news.
I'd like to be positive, but today I don't feel, yesterday I felt better. Maybe it was the Valium. But today I feel like we lost the Senate, the Supreme Court, the executive branch. The House is on the verge of going to him. It's pathetic. There are no checks and balances. Assignment Desk Weekend has reached out to the president-elect to ask about this particular side effect, and undeterred, the response from 47 was unequivocal.
Look, Joy Behar is just as much a person as anybody else. So we're going to make her life better, too, whether she likes it or not.
As the fallout continues for Dems trying to find out why they lost so overwhelmingly on Tuesday, different reasons have been offered. Jen Psaki, former press secretary, said racism and sexism were at the core of the reason. This despite the fact that Trump got more Black, Latino, Arab, Asian, and Jewish vote than any other GOP president in history. Another theory, Joe Biden secretly joining the Proud Boys. A former Obama speechwriter is claiming Trump's appearance on the Joe Rogan podcast was what ultimately put the candidate over the top. Jon Favreau also observed the difficulty Dems would have being in that situation. He said, I can count on two hands the number of Democrats that would do okay in that setting. The difficulty is that the Dems want to stick to their talking points. Assignment Desk Weekend would like to point out that if they didn't, literally no one would vote for them. And finally, Dolly Parton would like to invite the Princess of Wales to the distinctly American holiday of Thanksgiving. She'd also like to comp their tickets to Dollywood. The country singer had been sad to miss an invitation to have tea at Buckingham Palace last year while Parton was touring for her most recent album, Rockstar. Parton has previously met with Queen Elizabeth. She said she hopes to serve the future queen her famous mashed potatoes. Simon Desk Weekend has learned that Middleton is intrigued by the concept of the culinary dish, almost as curious as her father-in-law is at the concept of putting ice in beverages. For a Simon Desk Weekend, I'm Kevin McCullough.
I have ADHD. I wrote a book about it, but it turns out my loving wife also has ADHD, a different kind. She has already decorating for the holidays disorder. For her, this year is the most early onset ADHD I've ever seen. Yesterday, she came inside and said, "Honey, I think some punk kids smashed our pumpkins." And I was like, whew, thank God we have a ring cam.
We do?
Yeah, the footage was truly hard to watch. This morning, I went to work, but I forgot my phone. I went back in to get it, and I caught her in the act. She was wearing an elf hat, blasting Christmas music, and there were pine-scented candles everywhere.
You know what? It brings me joy in this dumpster fire of a world.
I understand, but what about Halloween and Thanksgiving? Like with your ADHD, it's like they don't even exist. We've tried pumpkin pie. I found it in the trash. It was replaced on the counter by a gingerbread house that I guess we'll have out in the open for 75 days. We tried a pumpkin spice latte. That lasted 1 day. She's already moved on to something called a venti eggnogacino with a candy cane sugar rim. I begged her to at least put our scarecrow out for 1 week. She agreed, but now she has him riding on top of a light-up reindeer. I know that my wife's ADHD is something that she can't control.
And I don't want
It obviously affects millions of people out there. So with that in mind, here are some signs that you might have already decorating for the holidays disorder. Do you find yourself wandering to the back of a Target to see if the seasonal aisles are up?
Yep.
Have you already downloaded and printed the Hallmark movie schedule for the next 3 months?
Obviously.
Do you already have a corny reindeer nose and antlers on your car?
Santa Claus is coming to town.
Do you have a Days Until Christmas app on your phone?
And you don't? If you have any of these symptoms, you're not alone, and there's no cure.
You're gonna make no effort?
They just gotta live with it. Am I right?
Or you could just like wait a few weeks.
Santa, take the wheel. It's go time. Ooh, ooh. Jingle bells. Do you hear them? Hear the jingle bells?
No.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
No.
I'm hearing them.
It's October.
If you think it's Christmas and life gets better, it's easier when it's Christmas.
What is that? Here are some signs that you might have already decorating for holidays disorder.
I was holding her collar, and I was like,
oh, is that fun?
I thought she would jump.
She really likes the bells.
Yes!
For over 200 years, combat chaplains have provided the bedrock of care for every branch of the military.
Our chaplains are non-combatants. They go into a battle space without a weapon. You have to be fearless to do that.
That's me, comforting the injured soldier when I was a chaplain. But after I left the military, I struggled to make sense of my experiences when I got home.
Justin was definitely a different person when he got back.
And then, something completely unexpected happened.
Long-lost Army chaplain has finally been identified 70 years after his death.
Chaplain Emil Capon was one of the most famous, most heroic combat chaplains in history. As I had been there for so many others on the battlefield, I knew that I should be there when Chaplain Capon was laid to rest. And maybe it would help me sort through why I was feeling so lost. As I set off, I felt I was being led by the inspiring stories of combat chaplains of all faiths who came before me.
Chaplain Litkeep carried over 20 men for evacuation.
The 4 chaplains from the Dorchester. That is one of the greatest examples of chaplaincy.
I came to this moment where I realized it's time for you to stop preparing warriors to meet the enemy and start preparing them to meet eternity.
Being a chaplain is a quiet profession of service, and chaplains rarely make headlines. So I was shocked when I realized that people from all over the United States came together in the spirit of Emil Kapaun to honor him, and to honor the service of every one of us who has ever accepted this calling.
This is the valor we honor today. An American soldier who wielded love for his brothers so pure that he was willing to die so that they might live.
If you look at any war at any given time, a chaplain was there, equipped with a fighting spirit that provides a refuge in the fight.
Ready or not, we'll be right back.